In a quiet theater, a boy named Amata sits transfixed, watching a movie called The Skies of Aquaria. His father enters, wondering why Amata is so captivated by this film, particularly the actress Alicia, who plays the character Sylphie. Although Amata adores the movie, it doesn't seem to have a large following. It's revealed that Amata also works at the theater with his father. Later, as Amata cleans the theater, he notices a girl sitting alone, deeply engrossed in the same movie, even shedding tears. Amata approaches her and is struck by her resemblance to the actress Alicia. They introduce themselves. The girl is Mikono Suzushiro. The two instantly connect. As they continue talking, Amata becomes increasingly excited, almost as if he might lift off the ground. He excuses himself, retreating to his room, where he opens a panel on his leg and adds 3 metal plates. Rejoining Mikono, they take a boat ride, discussing the abductors causing problems and kidnapping people on their planet, Vega. During their conversation, Amata touches Mikono, and a flying cat named Shushu suddenly leaps from Mikono's hair, attacking Amata to protect its owner. Later, they pause to admire the park, and Mikono mentions a hidden academy that trains elements, people with special powers chosen to pilot Icarias. Once more, Amata's excitement causes him to excuse himself, this time to the restroom. Suddenly, terrifying abductor robots appear from the skies, attacking the city and kidnapping people. But before the situation escalates, the M-type Aquarias arrive to engage the intruders. Amata returns to where Mikono is staying, and they watch the battle unfold from above. Out of nowhere, a massive abductor emerges, proving a formidable challenge for the Aquarias. To everyone's shock, this abductor has a skilled pilot, unlike the mindless robots they've faced before. At the headquarters, the commander receives an order to deploy the F-type Aquarias to support the M-types, an unprecedented move, as the two types have never fought together. The F-types arrive, providing much-needed assistance, but they must be careful not to merge with the boys. Even with the F-types' arrival, the large abductor continues to outmaneuver them, gracefully dodging attacks while inflicting damage. During the intense battle, a statue collapses, nearly crushing Mikono, but Amata bravely shields her, taking the full force of the impact. The massive abductor has subdued all the Aquarias. Just as it's about to deliver the final blow, it senses something behind it: Amata and Mikono. The Aquarias try to defend them, but are suddenly ejected from their robots. Realizing the danger, Amata has no choice but to reveal his hidden power. He removes the metal plates on his legs, reducing his weight, and is able to carry Mikono, flying them to safety from the rubble. This shocking maneuver stuns the abductor's pilot. Unexpectedly, Mikono and Amata find themselves inside a Vector's cockpit. Amata then tells Mikono he will unleash a power he has been concealing. He calls out a forbidden name, Aquarian. Immediately, his Vector fuses with the other Vectors and their pilots, overriding the force that had prevented this process. The Vectors combine into one colossal, towering mecha that dominates the skyline. In a quick scene, we learn that the abductors hail from another planet or dimension, though their exact motives for the invasion remain unclear. Their advanced technologies, however, appear similar to those found on Earth. The organization responsible for fighting the abductors is called Neo-Diava. They utilize 2 types of Aquarias: F-type for females and M-type for males. These Vectors are unable to merge together due to a mysterious stone barrier. The elements, the pilots of the Aquarias, are kept in separate dormitories, divided by a metaphorical Berlin Wall. The males and females have no access to one another's living spaces. As the male elements undergo training, they receive an alert that the abductors have arrived, triggering a strong sensation from the merging of the Vectors, an experience they've never had before, as the male and female Vectors are typically prohibited from combining. With the giant Vector now formed, Amata takes the lead as the chief pilot. The abductor's pilot, however, is drawn to someone within the Aquaria, and a sinister smile spreads across his face, suggesting he has found his target. Mikono is surprised to find herself inside the Vector's cockpit. Cayenne, one of the pilots, communicates with them, initially believing Amata to be a terrorist for hijacking the Vector. But Mikono argues that Amata saved her, not that he is a terrorist. Cayenne informs headquarters that a civilian couple is inside the robot. They attempt to sever the connection, but it proves unsuccessful. The commander reveals that Aquarian is a distinct entity. Unlike the gender-specific Aquarias, it is the perfect form, capable of withstanding both males and females. The abductor continues its assault on the Aquarian. Amata struggles to control the powerful mecha, giving the enemy ample opportunity to land hits. But instinctively, Amata activates a devastating energy blast from the Aquarian's head, forcing the foe to retreat. Those at the base are left wondering who Amata is, as he must possess remarkable abilities to have synchronized with Aquarian. The abductor returns with reinforcements, pushing the Aquarian to the ground. The lead abductor pilot, whose name is Kagura, is then ordered to withdraw, but he insists on continuing the fight. As the abductors attack the Aquarian once more, one of the female pilots, Zessica, is compelled to teach Amata how to wield the robot's weapons. With a single push of his hand, Amada obliterates the abductor reinforcements, surprising everyone as Zesika's element resonates with his own. Now free from those who sought to recall him, Kagura returns to attack the Aquarian once more. Cayenne's power resonates with the Aquarian, granting him the ability to foresee a vision. A wedding with a funeral procession, where Mikono is the bride and the groom appears to be Kagura. Kagura assaults the Aquarian, using metal to pin the mighty robot down. Cayenne then begins blaming Amada for the unfolding events, a reminder of Amada's troubled past as an outcast shunned for his powers, abandoned time and again. But the current situation is different. Mikono is steadfast in her resolve to stand by Amada's side, no matter what. Inspired, Amada subconsciously powers up the Aquarian, which breaks free from its bonds and soars into the sky. The Aquarian seizes the abductor and propels it into the air. Amada's gravity manipulation ability allows the Aquarian to take flight, and he hurls the abductor into space, crashing it into an asteroid. Undeterred, Kagura charges at them again, but a dimensional portal opens, and he is ordered to return home. Though he tries to break free, the portal pulls him in. The Aquarian then falls back to Earth, and Mikono and Amada are rescued, though Amada is knocked unconscious. There are plans to take him to the Academy. Meanwhile, Kagura reaches his home planet and declares that he has found the woman he desires. On the abductor's home planet, Altair, their leader Izumo informs his assistant Jin that the Aguras sent to Vega have lost functionality, with most becoming useless during transit. Needing the Aguras for an important purpose back home, Izumo decides to put Jin in charge of operations, anticipating Kagura may object. Back on Vega, Amada awakens in a strange room, coming face to face with Cayenne. Cayenne summarizes everything Amada needs to know. He is currently at Neo Diava, the academy where elements are trained to pilot Aquarias, tasked with repelling the abductors from another dimension. Amada realizes this is the very academy Mikono had mentioned. Cayenne then shows Amada around the academy. In the classroom, Amada is surprised to find himself popular, having merged the Aquarias without training. At the cafeteria, Cayenne points out the Berlin Wall separating the female and male dormitories, explaining that Amada has been brought here to be tested, just as Mikono is undergoing testing in the female area. Amada is curious to learn more about Mikono, but Cayenne refuses to share details. When Cayenne asks about Amada's relationship with Mikono, Amada admits they've just met, relieved to discover Cayenne is Mikono's protective older brother, not a romantic interest. Amada and Cayenne's argument about Mikono is interrupted by instructor Donar, who orders Amada not to eat, as he will be undergoing an aptitude test. Depending on the results, Amada may be allowed to stay at the academy. Donar also notes that Amada has changed the status of Aquaria to Aquarian due to his actions the previous day. Taken to the lab for testing, the results reveal Amada's power is gravity manipulation, explaining his ability to fly. This power activates when he experiences emotional distress or needs to protect a loved one. The commander is concerned, as the test does not explain how the Gai's stone was destroyed. Further analysis uncovers buried memories of Aquarian within Amada's mind, but before the psychoanalysis can be completed, the machine suddenly malfunctions, indicating someone has interfered to prevent the test from finishing. Meanwhile, in the female academy, Zesika, who had merged with the boys, shares her experience with the other girls, who are eager to do the same. Class President Mix tries to remind them that such merging is forbidden due to the Berlin Wall separating the genders. When Mix questions Mikono, she reveals she no longer lives with Cayenne and is unsure of his activities. Mix assumes Mikono also has elemental powers, as they run in her family. That night, as Amada tries to sleep, he hears the sound of a piano playing and decides to investigate. Making his way outside the dorm, he stumbles into a pit dug by another cadet, Andy, whose elemental power allows him to easily burrow through the soil. Wanting to see Mikono, Amada offers to help, and they quickly dig their way to the female dorm. Emerging from the hole, Amada is surprised to find Mikono standing there. As he tries to stand up, he accidentally pushes his head into Mikono's lap, causing her to feel embarrassed and run away. The two hastily retreat back into the hole before the guards discover them. The next morning, the commander announces that Cayenne, Andy, and Amada will pilot the Aquarias for the monthly battle simulation, shocking everyone as Amada is still a new student. During the simulation, Amada initially lacks seriousness, but when he realizes the girls are watching, he activates his gravity manipulation power, effortlessly fusing with the other vectors and swiftly defeating the enemies, forcing the game to end prematurely. Meanwhile, on the abductor's home planet of Altair, they appear to be awaiting the emergence of a man named Sir Maikaj. Donar is informed that Mikono will be sent home, as testing has revealed she possesses no elemental powers. He also prefers not to discuss a past Aquarian tragedy. Saddened by the news, Mikono prepares to leave, wishing she could say goodbye to Amada. Zesika approaches her, teasing that Mikono must have a strong hold on Amada, given his heroics during the simulation battle. Meanwhile, Andy discovers the hole he dug to the female dorm has been sealed, likely by a power user among the girls. Amada wonders if it could have been a boy, not a girl, who blocked the passage. Hearing the same piano tune he heard before, Amada asks Andy about it. Learning the player is Schrade, considered the Academy's top student. Eager to meet him, Amada heads to Schrade's room, where the pianist is not surprised by Amada's arrival, having expected him. As Amada and Schrade get acquainted, Cayenne bursts in, clearly angry over Amada's performance in the simulation. Grabbing Amada by the neck, Cayenne prepares to attack, but Schrade warns him that fighting is not allowed in this space. As Cayenne prepares to attack, Schrade begins playing his piano, affecting Cayenne psychologically and causing him to see a vision of his sister's death. Andy explains that Schrade's elemental power allows him to touch people's minds through sound. When Schrade stops playing, Cayenne regains control, but fails to land a hit on the nimble pianist. Suddenly, an alarm sounds, warning of abductor activity in a nearby area. Andy, Cayenne, and Amada are summoned to pilot the Aquaria and engage the enemy. They quickly merge to form the mighty Aquarian. Meanwhile, Mikono, on a boat leaving the Academy, senses something may go wrong and worries for Amada. The Aquarian is soon surrounded by the abductors, who are moving faster than before, suggesting a hidden commander. Schrade's music allows Cayenne to pinpoint the puppet master, Jin, hiding in space, using the battle to gather data. With no weapons capable of reaching Jin, the abductors have the Aquarian pinned down, their weapons already embedded in the mecha. Escape seems impossible. Unexpectedly, the boat transporting Mikono changes course, heading back to the Academy. The driver, revealed to be the Supreme Commander Zen Fudo, orders that Andy be replaced by Mikono aboard the Aquarian, despite her protest that she has no powers. Zen assures Mikono that her mere presence aboard the Aquarian will provide the boost Amada and Cayenne need, as their instinct to protect her will drive them beyond their limits. Convinced, Mikono agrees to replace Andy, surprising the two pilots. She even forgives Amada for the earlier incident, allowing them to reawaken the Aquarian. However, Cayenne worries for Mikono's safety, his vision of her in peril haunting him, but Mikono reassures her brother that she will be fine. Joining hands with Amada, Mikono's presence stimulates the Aquarian, causing its heart to beat. The mecha then uses its Mugen Punch technique, extending its arm into space to chase away the hiding Jin, who has collected enough data to please his leader, Izumo. The Aquarian's arm sweeps across the globe, eventually reaching the Academy and breaking the Berlin Wall, separating the male and female students. As the two sides rush towards each other, Zen announces that romance is prohibited. Meanwhile, on Altair, the mysterious Sir Mai Cage awakens. As the students complain about Zen's prohibition on romance, the director, a woman no one expected to hold such an important position, arrives. Miss Suomi questions the commander about the director's absence, and he reveals that both the director and Zen have been on separate journeys to uncover the mysteries of Aquarian. Their return suggests they have found clues. The Aquarian's origins trace back to the tragic tale of Sylphie and Apollon, two lovers whose excess led to destruction, an event that occurred 12 years ago. Though the power is forbidden, it seems they may have to rely on it again, as the enemy has grown stronger. Donar appears to understand the significance of this history. On Altair, Jin reports to his leader Izumo, who analyzes the data Jin collected from Vega, noting a new technique used by the Aquaria. Izumo then learns that Kagura has left the planet alone, heading for Vega, a development Izumo chooses not to intervene in. At that moment, a dimensional gate opens, signaling the awakening of the mysterious Sir Mai Cage. Back in Vega, the male and female students attend their first joint class, much to Andy's delight. Even Amada blushes at the sight of Mikono, only to be snapped out of his reverie by a dart to the rear. As the class trip to the city begins, the students are divided into groups of 3. Andy finds himself in Group C with Mix and Yunoha, which may pose a challenge for the boy who enjoys the company of girls. As the groups gather, the students begin receiving random electric shocks from the bracelets they are wearing. The final group consists of Amada, Zessica, and Mikono. In the operations room, it's revealed that the bracelets are designed to measure the students' emotions, part of the director's plan to prevent them from forming strong emotional connections. When a student's emotional status rises too high, the bracelet delivers a shock to curb it. The director explains that this measure is due to a tragic love story between Donar and his late lover, Nonanon. Their powerful love ultimately led to disaster, with Nonanon's death and Donar losing both his arms. While love can enhance the Aquarian's abilities, the director is determined to avoid a repeat of this tragedy, using the bracelets to stop the students from becoming emotionally attached. Amada continues to float whenever he has romantic feelings for Mikono, prompting Donar to repeatedly shoot him with darts to keep him grounded. In the operations room, the group's progress is monitored, and Amada's group is observed as they walk through the market. While Mikono is happy that Amada floats for her, she becomes troubled when he also floats for Zessica, questioning whether Amada's feelings are truly for her alone. Meanwhile, it's revealed that Kagura has infiltrated Vega and is searching for Mikono. Later, at the arcade, Mikono angrily walks away after seeing Amada float for Zessica again. Amada chases after her, trying to convince her of his devotion. They reach the top of a tower, where the scenery reminds them of a beloved movie, and a man begins playing a romantic tune, drawing them closer together. The operations room detects Mikono's growing romantic feelings, and Donar is powerless to stop what is unfolding. However, just as Amada and Mikono's love blossoms, Kagura suddenly appears, dragging Mikono away. As he does so, Mikono faints, not from love, but from a forbidden encounter, alerting Zen and the others to the gravity of the situation. As the authorities learn of an abductor presence in the city, the elements are ordered to return to the academy. Cayenne is reluctant, knowing his sister is in danger, but Schrade reminds him of his duty as a fighter, offering to stay behind and help. On the tower, Amada tries to protect the unconscious Mikono from Kagura, who claims Mikono as his own, and warns Amada not to interfere. But Amada is determined, pushing Kagura and causing Mikono to fall. Amada quickly catches her, and wings appear beneath his feet, allowing him to fly away with her. Kagura considers giving chase but is stopped by Schrade, who uses his guitar to disrupt Kagura's mind. On Altair, Izumo and Jin meet with Maikage, who reveals he was the one who helped Kagura open the gate to Vega as Kagura seeks a rare Igura. After Maikage departs, Izumo tells Jin to monitor Kagura, ready to forcibly take his suit, Mithra Gneis, if necessary. Kagura then goes to a facility where he reveals Alicia is being kept in one of the pods. Frustrated, Kagura decides to escape rather than continue fighting the skilled Schrade, wanting to pursue Mikono instead. As the rest of the team heads back to the academy, Zessica asks Donar about Schrade's prohibition from battle. Donar then shares Schrade's tragic backstory. His music has a destructive effect, causing his parents to eliminate each other. Taken in by malicious individuals, Schrade was turned into an agent of destruction until the director personally recruited him. However, Schrade's life shortens each time he pilots the Aquarian, as his power exceeds the machine's resonance capacity, leading to his removal from the pilot roster. Kagura resumes his search for Mikono and Amada, donning his powerful Mithra Gneis suit. As the Aquarian arrives, Cayenne recognizes the suit, and Zen identifies it as Mithra Gneis. The Aquarius struggle to stop Kagura, who knocks Cayenne's aircraft against a wall. Meanwhile, Mikono and Amada hide in an abandoned house, while Zessica tries, unsuccessfully, to lure Kagura out of the city. Moments later, Kagura locates Amata and Mikono. Though Cayenne has freed himself from the wall, his broken arm prevents him from easily piloting his Vector. Seeing this, Schrade volunteers to take over. Despite Cayenne's hesitation about the danger, Schrade assumes control of the Vector, allowing Cayenne to be ejected. To further shift the battle's momentum, Andy is also ejected, and Amata takes command of the Vector. He urges Mikono to leave the area for her safety. The authorities are concerned about Schrade piloting a Vector, but the elements merge to form Aquarian. Schrade's power enhances Zessica and Amata's abilities, creating a new Aquarian form with Schrade at the helm. The mighty mecha charges towards Kagura and his powerful Mithra Gneis suit, delivering a powerful blow. Schrade appears exhausted from the exertion, and Kagura's suit is significantly damaged by the energy attack. Unwilling to admit defeat, Kagura continues fighting, but is suddenly and forcefully taken back to Altair by Jin. Mikono watches as Kagura is pulled into space, while the unresponsive Schrade remains in the Vector's cockpit. The director visits Schrade in the hospital, trying to convince him to stop risking his life. But Schrade doesn't seem to fear the danger, only wanting to use his powers without concern. Back at school, Andy protests that the boys and girls should be allowed to sit together, believing there should be a connection between them. Most of the students, both male and female, agree, except for Mix, who insists that boys are impure and girls should avoid them. A ballot is held to choose seating partners, and Andy is excited at the prospect of finally sitting with a girl. The ballot results in Amada and Mikono being paired together, while Andy's bad luck continues as he ends up seated next to Mix. Cayenne and Schrade are also paired, though Cayenne sees Schrade as a rival, despite Schrade considering him a good friend. Next to Andy's seat is one occupied by a mysterious stuffed animal. They wonder about the rumor surrounding it, a lonely female student who disappeared from the academy, with the stuffed animal as her only friend, now said to wander the school at night. Zessica, however, dismisses the rumor as nonsense. On Altair, Jin continues running battle simulations, using collected data to improve his suit and weapons, while Kagura remains grounded for the time being. That night, Amada is cleaning the classroom when he notices Zessica waiting for him. As they leave together, they find the door locked, and Amada realizes Zessica is scared, which is why she is sticking close to him. As they walk through the hallway, they encounter the mysterious talking stuffed animal, startling them into running away in fear. Meanwhile, Mikono, thinking about Kagura, sees Amada and Zessica running out of the building, holding hands, and immediately assumes they are involved in a romantic relationship. The next day, when Zessica and Amada try to describe their encounter, Mikono interrupts them, jealously accusing them of being lovers. Amada is shocked by the accusation, but there's no time to discuss it, as the abductors have appeared again, and they must prepare for battle. Cayenne, Jessica, and Amada are sent out to engage the powerful enemy ship, which Zen instructs them to avoid direct hits from and fly low while attacking. It's revealed that Jin is controlling the enemy from a safe location. Aquarian takes a critical hit, forcing them to split into individual vectors for better maneuverability. The commander suggests an element change, substituting Andy for Yunoha, who turns out to be the mysterious talking stuffed animal. Yunoha transforms into a girl, apologizing for scaring Amata and Jessica, and assuring Mikono that there is nothing going on between them. With Yunoha's help, the vectors merge back into Aquarian, and her power grants them transparency, making them invulnerable to the enemy's attacks. They charge and deliver a powerful punch, destroying the enemy machine. Jin concedes defeat, but has collected new data. Afterward, Mikono apologizes for her assumptions about Amata and Jessica. The team welcomes Yunoha, who now feels comfortable enough to touch Amata, causing him to float as usual, revealing that he does so for literally everyone. Andy explains that he's been digging holes, believing there are unexplored worlds beneath the soil, specifically referring to the female dormitory, and aiming to reach the changing room. He soon breaks through to a small room where he finds a book, which he excitedly claims might be the legendary Book of Twin Stars that allows anyone to operate Aquarian. When Andy shows his friends the book, they ask how he obtained it, but he struggles to explain, unwilling to admit his true intentions. Meanwhile, the others are curious about what Director Kreia discovered on her journey, but she refuses to share any details. The next day, Andy tells his classmates that he's read the book and found an essential rule: they should always wear white or blue socks. However, his friends quickly realize the book is just the school handbook, not the legendary text, much to Andy's disappointment. On Altair, Izumo expresses frustration to Jin about the Iguras they've collected, all of whom have died during transport. It's revealed that an unknown epidemic has eliminated all the women on the planet, leaving only men, and the abducted women have perished while being transported, as they cannot reproduce without females. Believing Mikono is the woman they need, Kagura prompts Izumo to send Jin back to Vega, this time piloting the machine himself to better assess the situation. Jin accepts the task and modifies his suit using the collected data, building a more durable version. On Vega, Amata and his friends discuss the school dress code, with Mix criticizing Jessica's revealing attire. Mikono feels tempted to wear more revealing clothes, aware that Amata has been glancing at Jessica. The alarm sounds, and Amata, Mikono, and Jessica are sent to engage the abductor. They form Aquarian, but struggle against Jin's ultimate suit, which is prepared for their attacks. Jin uses infill shots that directly harm the operators, forcing Aquarian to split back into individual vectors. As Jin chases Jessica, they realize their exposed bodies can sense incoming attacks, so the trio starts tearing off their clothes, even the usually shy Mikono. Their power levels soar, allowing them to merge back into Aquarian. As they find their embarrassment fuels their strength, Aquarian easily dodges Jin's attacks and delivers a powerful blow, destroying his suit. Afterward, Mikono returns to her shy self, and Zen encourages a more shameless fighting style. Later, Jessica manages to get a cute picture of Amata, which she keeps close. On Vega, Izumo and his comrades are worried, as they haven't heard from Jin, whose machine was destroyed, though there's no evidence he was killed. Jin is crucial to them as the last son of Altair, and his close friends are angry they haven't been allowed to search for him, believing he's in trouble. As they discuss this, Mikage appears, and uses his power to boost their determination to save Jin, and the trio is willing to break the rules to rescue their friend. Meanwhile, Andy wakes up to find his dug holes filled in, frustrating him and convincing him a girl is responsible, though Amata argues it could be a boy. In the cafeteria, Mikono insists to Jessica that she has no romantic feelings for Amata, but Jessica suggests she should let him go, hinting at her own growing interest in him. The director is concerned about the worsening darkness in Shrade's heart, and Cayenne worries he's unfit for battle. Later, Andy and Amata resume digging holes, with Andy claiming he believes in hidden underground cultures, though he's really after the women's bathroom. The holes fill up again, and they're confronted by Mix, who's been blocking their efforts. Mix's sudden appearance shocks Andy, as he realizes they are rivals with opposing powers. An argument breaks out between them, with Mix questioning Andy's hole digging and Andy wondering why she's filling them in. Zen, observing from a distance, starts to form an idea about pairing them together. Soon after, Andy and Mix are taken to the docking station, where Zen wants them to pilot the vectors and potentially merge to form Aquarian. However, the duo refuses and spends the training session arguing, with no positive results. As punishment, they are locked in a room where Mix is forced to dig holes and Andy is ordered to fill them in. Andy teases Mix about her hatred of men, mentioning her father, which changes her mood and leaves her silent until they're released. Later, Mikono explains to Amata that Mix's father, a reporter, left her for another woman, leaving a significant emotional wound that's the root of her hatred for holes, which remind her of the emptiness in her heart. When abductors appear in Vega, Zen orders Mikono, Mix, and Andy to work together, wanting them to learn cooperation. Andy is excited about merging with Mix, but she decides to go after the enemies alone until Andy stops her, reminding her she can't take them on by herself. Andy and Mikono try to convince Mix to let go of her emotional wounds, and she attempts to merge with them, but it fails due to her lack of commitment, leading to a disastrous formation that injures Andy. Amada steps in to replace him, and he and Mikono manage to convince Mix to merge with them. As they form Aquarian, Mix feels an incredible sensation, as Mikono has the power to create connections between the elements. Mix uses her ability to fill the holes in the enemy's armor, causing their own weapons to backfire and destroy them, marking a significant moment for Mix in overcoming her fear of merging with a guy. After the battle, Mix and Andy continue their argumentative banter, while Mikono and Amada share a romantic moment, only to be interrupted by Zen, who reminds them romance is not allowed. In the distance, Jessica watches the duo, as the scene shifts to reveal Jin is alive, observing the academy. Jin arrives at the academy and is introduced as a new transfer student, overwhelmed by the number of girls, being unused to such attention. Cayenne takes him on a tour, showing him various locations, including a partially broken section of the Berlin Wall, and the operations room, known as Neo Diava's hub. When Cayenne mentions Aquarian, Jin appears lost, unaware that it refers to the mechanical suit they use in battles, surprising Cayenne. During the tour, Amada arrives, and he and Cayenne begin arguing, allowing Jin to sneak away to the hangar where the weapons are stored, which he quickly studies. The next day, Jin contacts Izumo to report on the situation. Izumo tells him to come back alive and bring a suitable Igura. Jin explains that humans use primitive technology compared to theirs, which is why he was able to easily hack into the Academy's system and access their databank. He needs to find the strongest Igura as quickly as possible, and has a device that will help him accomplish this task with ease. Jin is surprised to see Andy and Mix arguing over holes. Shortly after, he accidentally walks into the female restroom, but Yunoha steps in and reminds the girls he's new and might have made a mistake. Thanks to Yunoha, Jin retreats to the male dorm, ignoring Andy and Amada's questions about digging holes. In class, Yunoha talks to Jin, expressing her belief that he's in a similar situation to when she first arrived, as people tried to talk to her but she was used to being alone. She hopes they will interact with Jin so he can feel more comfortable. Schrade visits Cayenne, revealing he's been hearing strange noises since the last abductor disappeared, wondering what's going on. Later, in the library, Jin's device falls out, but he quickly hides it. Yunoha notices it, but doesn't press him, instead talking about the dangers of being alone, saying it's not good for him. As she speaks, tears run down her cheeks, and she runs away in embarrassment. Yunoha's tears resonate with Jin, while Cayenne suspects Jin might be the pilot of the giant abductor they fought. Cayenne gathers data on the girls, discovering Yunoha has the power of transparency, and transfers the information to Izumo, suggesting Yunoha's tears must have deeply affected Jin. Izumo advises Cayenne to grab Yunoha and take her with him if he's worried. Feeling determined, Cayenne joins Andy and Amada in digging holes, leading them to a discreet location that Mix might have trouble finding, which leads to the female dorm, Jin's true goal. At the dorm, Jin leaves Andy and Amada behind and heads to Yunoha's room, throwing a stone at her window to get her attention. When Yunoha comes out, he expresses his desire to talk more, but she retreats shyly. Undeterred, Jin climbs up to her window, but Cayenne appears and fires a warning shot at him. As Amada and Andy watch in shock, Jin reaches Yunoha's window, and when Cayenne breaks free and fires at them both, Jin subconsciously activates a power to create a barrier that blocks the blast, unaware of his own abilities. On Altair, Izumo visits the cryo chamber, staring into Alicia's eyes. Maikage arrives and explains that after Altair lost their women, they had to investigate Vega to keep their hopes alive, and Alicia was one of the girls chosen, but she fell into a deep sleep during the journey. Maikage wants to eliminate Alicia, seeing her as useless, but Izumo stops him, reminding him that no one is to touch her. Izumo then tells Maikage that Jin has infiltrated the nest of the mechanical angels, referring to Aquarian, and there is hope Jin will find someone useful for them. Maikage returns to his chambers where Kagura is being held captive. Maikage begins to say hurtful things to Kagura about Mikono, urging him to break free if he truly cares, wanting Kagura's love to be reborn. Furious, Kagura transforms into a beast and breaks free, charging at Maikage, who tells him to embark on a journey of love if he wants to satisfy his longing. Ignoring Maikage, Kagura heads to the hangar in his beast form, easily knocking out the guards to gain access, setting off the alarm. Maikage reveals his true intention is not to find the true Igura, but to awaken the mechanical angel of Genesis that sleeps in Vega. Back on Vega, both Cayenne and Jin are locked up, with Jin being the first to be released. As he leaves his cell, he runs into Yunoha. The director and higher-ups discover Jin is not who he claims to be, but decide not to take action, as they need his power. Amata and his friends find Jin mysterious, but don't think that makes him a bad person. Jessica indirectly kisses Amata by taking his drink and using the same straw. On Altair, Kagura successfully acquires his armor and tries to leave the planet, but Izumo orders the gate closed to prevent his escape. Andy approaches Amada and teases him about Mikono, knowing Amada has feelings for her. He advises Amada to act on his feelings before he loses her, but Amada reminds Andy that romance is prohibited. Andy suggests Amada can reserve Mikono until the war is over, but should express his feelings now, before it's too late. Amada reflects on Andy's advice, remembering that Kagura is interested in Mikono, which could pose a problem. Determined to act quickly, Amada approaches Mikono without delay, thinking the sooner he talks to her, the better. On Altair, Izumo tells Kagura he cannot allow him to leave, as he is acting irrationally. However, Kagura dismisses Izumo's concerns, insisting he just wants to leave, even if it means destroying the city. Izumo is forced to send the military after him, noticing Kagura's power has increased significantly, unaware that Maikage is secretly providing Kagura with support and strength. Kagura suddenly realizes the machines have pulled back, and as he looks ahead, he sees powerful artillery set up to attack him. He is bombarded with artillery fire and falls to the ground, but he regains his strength and blasts all the machines away. With Maikage's assistance, the gate opens for Kagura, and he escapes the planet. On another planet, Zessica stands in front of a mirror, wondering why Amada doesn't like her the way he likes Mikono. Meanwhile, Amada takes Mikono to the riverside to discuss his feelings and ask about her plans after the war. Jin is sitting alone, trying to eat a hot dog when two girls approach him, insisting on taking cute pictures of him. Although he feels shy, they make sure to get the photos they want. Elsewhere, Amada tells Andy he hasn't been able to talk to Mikono about his feelings. Andy understands and offers to help, suggesting they organize an exciting event for the Academy's anniversary the next day. Andy gives Amada a letter to invite Mikono. In class, Amada throws the note to Mikono, and she catches it. Zessica sees this, and Amada invites her as well, though Andy wonders why Amada is inviting Zessica when he really needs time alone with Mikono. That night, as Andy prepares their room, Jin enters, and Andy suggests he join them to get used to being around girls. Moments later, Zessica, Mikono, and Yunoha crawl through a hole to reach the boys' dorm, running into Cayenne and Shrade on the way. The girls head toward Andy and Amada's room, escorted by Cayenne and Shrade. Andy reassures the guys they just want to have a fun time together in preparation for tomorrow's anniversary. Zessica searches under Amada's bed and finds a picture of the actress Sylphie, who is actually Alicia. Everyone recognizes Alicia as the actress from the popular movie Skies of Aquaria. Yunoha knows Jin is a fan of Alicia and asks him to show the group his device, which has a video of Sylphie singing. The group decides to feature the movie at the anniversary event. The next morning, Andy starts distributing posters to raise awareness about the movie. Meanwhile, Jin retreats to a private spot to contact Altair, but is unable to get through. Yunoha sees him, and Jin chases after her, accidentally tearing her teddy bear, which she leaves behind for him. Amada and Mikono are busy setting up the projector for the event, which reminds them of the first time they met in the theater. Amada reveals that Alicia is his mother, which is why he has the picture, and he feels like an unwanted child. Mikono corrects him, assuring him that he is not unwanted. Amada asks Mikono if she will watch the movie with him, and she agrees. He becomes excited and starts to float, which Zessica sees, feeling her anger growing. Back in his room, Jin realizes he needs to apologize to Yunoha. He fixes the teddy bear and prepares to return it to her. Meanwhile, on Altair, Maikage reveals he plans to interfere with Jin's mission. Later, Amada finds Yunoha and returns the teddy bear, apologizing for tearing it. Yunoha reassures Jin that she wasn't spying on him and is ready to respect his secrets. They agree to meet that night for the movie. That night, Jin searches for his device but can't find it, unaware that Maikage has used his powers to move it. Yunoha discovers the device where she and Jin are supposed to meet and hears Izumo warning that Kagura will soon arrive, needing Jin to take the girl away before Kagura gets there. When Jin appears, Yunoha hides the device and pretends she doesn't have it. As the movie begins, Amada and Mikono get closer, causing Amada to become excited and start floating. Suddenly, an alarm goes off, signaling the presence of abductors. Amada and Mikono run into Kagura, who has just arrived on the planet, and they become frightened and fall onto a tree branch. Worried, Jin asks Yunoha to come with him. Kagura is searching through the base for Mikono, but Yunoha tells Jin she has his device and heard the message meant for him. Suddenly, there's an explosion, and Yunoha passes out from fear. The authorities are evacuating students, but 20 are still missing. Mikono, Amada, and Zessica merge into Aquarian and go after Kagura, who calls Mikono Sylphie. He charges toward Aquarian, and they realize he is much more powerful than before, using the power of reversal and elemental powers. Jin has taken Yunoha to the hangar, intending to take her to his planet, but she wants him to join the battle against Kagura. As Jin activates the vector, the operation room receives an alert that a reserved vector has been activated, revealing Jin as the traitor. Cayenne offers to go after Jin, while the battle between Aquarian and Kagura continues. They discover Kagura is being powered by a strange aura transferred from Altair through a dimensional gate, with Maikage helping him. They realize their only solution is to cut off the dimensional gate to stop Kagura's energy supply. Maikage suddenly appears in the operations room, shocking everyone with his teleportation abilities. Zen and Donar seem to recognize him. In the hangar, Yunoha tries to convince Jin not to betray their trust, but he brushes her off, stating his mission is more important. He powers up the Vector and prepares to leave the planet. In the operations room, Maikage attacks. Donar jumps in front of Suomi to protect her but passes out. Suomi, Kreia, and Zen confront Maikage, and Zen and Maikage begin to talk as if they have a history together. As Jin is about to pass through the dimensional gate, Yunoha pleads with him to reconsider, reminding him their friends need their help. At the same time, Kagura has defeated Aquarian and opens the hatch to take Mikono. Amata regains consciousness and quickly snatches Mikono away, but Kagura shoots him down, aiming to kill Amata. In the operations room, Maikage confronts Zen and demands to know where the solar wings are. Donar regains consciousness and shoots Maikage, but Maikage easily blocks the attack and decides to retreat for now. Kagura is about to eliminate Amata when Andy arrives and traps him in one of his holes. Amata and Mikono reunite with Andy and Mix, but Kagura breaks free, determined to eliminate them. The arrival of other vectors prevents him from doing so, and the director orders the elements to merge again. To everyone's surprise, Jin and Yunoha return, with Yunoha having convinced Jin to help. Jin expresses his desire to merge with them as well. Maikage appears to Jin, and decides he needs to be punished for his betrayal, injuring him, but Jin emerges unharmed and asks the elements to merge with him. They successfully merge, creating two Aquarian to battle Kagura. They manage to knock Kagura into a rock, but he retaliates with a powerful counterattack. The team realizes they need to cut off the dimensional gate to defeat Kagura, and Jin activates his power, with the other elements supporting him and creating a massive wave that destroys the gate. Cayenne finishes off Kagura, leading to their victory. However, the injury on Jin's forehead worsens, and he becomes unresponsive, with his device playing a recording of how much he likes Yunoha. After the battle, it's revealed that Jin didn't survive his injuries and has died. A funeral procession is held for the deceased, and they are laid to rest in the church, surrounded by flowers. Back on Altair, Izumo learns about Jin's death and blames Maikage, who is trying to stir up a rebellion in the city. Maikage explains that his actions were necessary to make life easier on Altair, which is already dying, and they need to find a solution, including bringing females to the planet. On Vega, the deceased are taken from the church to be transported to the cemetery. Yunoha has locked herself in a room since Jin's death and refuses to show herself. Mikono is worried about her but doesn't want to disturb her, wanting to give her space to grieve alone. However, Zen urges Mikono to reach out to Yunoha, warning that she will lose herself if she continues this way. Mikono makes his way to Yunoha's room, bringing food in an attempt to lift her spirits. Yunoha blames herself for not agreeing to follow Jin, believing he would still be alive if she had. Mikono encourages Yunoha to come with him to pay her last respects to Jin, and although she is hesitant, she eventually agrees to go with him. Elsewhere, Amata is packing Jin's belongings when his device falls and displays an image of Sylphie, making Amata wonder if his mother is on Altair. The students then head to the cemetery, where some express a desire to quit the school, feeling scared for their safety after the recent events. Mix tries to convince them to stay, but Andy stops her, not wanting to change their minds. At the cemetery, the deceased are laid to rest. Zen tells Andy to dig multiple holes, and Kreia informs the students they've learned Altair's mission is to kidnap female elements for reproduction, meaning more battles and lost lives are expected. To prepare, Zen tells the students they need to die first, instructing them to get into the holes and bury themselves, claiming it's part of their training. Mikono and some students become angry, feeling Zen is being insensitive. Zen explains the process is necessary to help them cut off attachment to the living. Shrade and Yunoha comply, and soon all the students have jumped into the holes, except Mikono and Amata. Mikono refuses to get in, but Zen uses his super speed to grab Amata and throw him into the hole, sealing it immediately, leaving Mikono alone on the surface with the school authorities. Moments later, some of the students run out of the holes in fear. Meanwhile, Maikage has realized what Zen is trying to do, burying Kagura alongside the students to make him powerful. Amata and his friends start to feel comfortable inside the holes, able to feel and connect through the silence. Mikono is worried about them and wants to dig them out, but soon finds her power connects them. Her friends are able to bloom like mushrooms, drawing from her power to overcome their fear of death. Amata and the rest are reborn, bursting out of their graves. Mikono faces Amata and greets him with a happy birthday, as they were still celebrating their win. However, they are shocked when Kagura suddenly bursts out of one of the holes, as they had no idea he was also being buried in the same cemetery. Zen notices the killer intent on Kagura's face, and quickly gets Kreia out of the area, leaving the students to face Kagura, wanting to see how far they've come with their new abilities. Donar draws his sword and charges at Kagura, but Kagura uses an energy blast to destroy the sword. Andy joins the fight, creating holes under Kagura, but he bursts out, grabbing Mix and throwing her aside, stating he's after Mikono. Amada urges his friends to get Mikono to safety before Kagura can grab her. Two students quickly take Mikono away, but Kagura proves too strong, cutting through them and transforming into a beast to chase the car. Shrade temporarily pins Kagura down with his sound abilities, but Kagura breaks free and catches up to the car, using his reversal skill to crash it. He seizes the opportunity to grab Mikono and takes her to a tower, where he hides her, as a search for Mikono begins. Mikono wakes up at the top of the tower, where Kagura is standing guard, trying to prevent her from making noise or calling attention to herself. Kagura attempts to contact Mikage to inform him he has secured the package, but receives no response, unaware that Mikage is choosing to ignore him. Zesika tells Amada not to worry too much about Mikono, assuring him that Kagura won't hurt her, revealing Kagura is Mikono's man of destiny. In the tower, Kagura assures Mikono he won't harm her, calling her Sylphie and telling her a story. The story explains the Tree of Life was withering and needed saving, so two lovers, Apollon and Sylphie, agreed to separate, promising to find each other again. Kagura sees himself as Sylphie and recognizes Sylphie's image in Mikono, which is why he has been chasing her. Zesika hopes Kagura is truly Mikono's destiny, as this would give her a chance with Amada. They hear a loud bang from the tower and rush over, with Amada trying to reach Mikono but being stopped by Kagura, who knocks Amada to the ground and comes after him. Amada tells Zesika to contact Cayenne, wanting to distract Kagura so Mikono can be rescued more easily. Amada runs away, and the enraged Kagura chases after him. The helicopter soon locates Mikono, who is hanging on. Kagura catches up to Amada and starts beating him up. Amada tries to fight back, but he's no match for Kagura's strength. Kagura punches him against the wall, causing Amada to pass out. While unconscious, Amada reflects on the darkness and his connection to it. Since he's already been reborn in darkness, he manages to find a way out, discovering a new source of power and levitating, forming an energy shield to stop Kagura's attack. As Kagura prepares another attack, Cayenne suddenly appears and shoots him from behind. Kagura throws Cayenne off balance, causing the gun to fall near Amada. Cayenne urges Amada to finish Kagura off, but Mikono arrives and stops Amada, pleading with him not to end Kagura's life. Suddenly, flower petals appear and envelop Kagura, who then floats away with the petals. After Kagura escapes, Kreia calls Mikono to her office and bans her from leaving her dorm as a punishment for allowing Kagura to slip away. Leaving the office, Mikono runs into Yunoha, who assures her of her support. Mikono expresses her confusion, admitting there are things she still doesn't understand. Andy and Amada are secretly listening to their conversation through a hidden hole. Back in their dorm, Amada wonders if their fate was truly decided 12,000 years ago, and Andy suggests there's a possibility of that connection, mentioning his own link to Mix through holes. Andy proposes Amada needs to win over Mikono's pet, Shushu, to get closer to her. Amada heads to the grocery store to buy things for Shushu, while Zesika, who had earlier told Amada about Kagura being Mikono's man of destiny, worries and feels like taking back her words, but Mix reassures her. Meanwhile, on Altair, the city known as the Iron Sea is starting to experience power output problems, and Izumo reveals the city was created by his mother, Oriza, and he needs to find a solution. Zen reveals his plan to take the elements through real combat training, setting up a battle between Team Amada, Zesika, Mikono, and Team Cayenne, Bianca, Malloy. They merge to become Aquarian, and Zen tells them to treat each other like enemies and use their elemental powers. Team Cayenne takes the offensive, with Cayenne's Aquarian designed for long-distance battles, and having the ability to see 3 seconds into the future, giving them a clear advantage. Team Amada struggles to fight back, feeling like sitting ducks against Cayenne's relentless attacks. Zesika decides to confess her feelings to Amada, getting close to him but struggling to find the words. Just then, an attack is imminent, and their suit manages to dodge it. In the midst of this, Zesika tells Amada she loves him, but he cannot hear her because of the explosion. He asks Zesika what she was trying to say, but she is too shy to repeat it. Zesika realizes this might be her only chance, so she boldly tells Amada she loves him, her words echoing throughout the area and leaving everyone in the operations room stunned. At that moment, Amada's Aquarian begins to move on its own, having reached a new level of evolution due to love, unleashing a powerful Mugen Punch that astonishes everyone. The Mugen Punch creates a series of images, including another Aquarian and 2 men battling, one resembling Zen. Mikono recognizes the other person but can't recall where she knows him from. It turns out the images are from 12,000 years ago, featuring Sylvia, not Sylphie. The punch causes a massive explosion that disrupts the video connection, risking the entire island's destruction. When the dust settles, they discover both Aquarians are okay, but the entire island has been devastated. The team wonders what kind of power they have just unlocked with this forbidden love, and Zessica realizes her confession triggered this sudden surge of power that nearly killed everyone. After returning to the academy, Amada tries to talk to Zessica about her confession, but she finds it difficult to discuss, telling him she understands and isn't putting any pressure on him. As she walks away, Amada tries to pull her back, but Mikono sees them, and Amada quickly releases Zessica's hand. Feeling jealous, Mikono runs away, and Amada's attempt to follow her is stopped by Shushu. Later, Mikono finds Zessica, who is lost in thought about her choices, and decides not to talk about the events. Mix is frustrated that some are still thinking about romance when they have battles to prepare for, and Amada receives lectures about romance from his friends. Suddenly, Amada and the others are summoned by Zen and Kreia for an emergency top-secret mission. The next day, the students begin their journey to an unknown location, with Sumoi being the only adult accompanying them. Amada suspects they are being sent to uncover the mythic Aquarian, while Mikono wonders if it will be dangerous. Upon arrival at the island, the commander tells them they are free to do as they please while they wait for further instructions. Kreia informs the students there are swimsuits inside the vectors. The boys sit down to fish while Mix and the other girls play nearby. Mix accidentally hits Andy in the head, taking him to the ship to treat his injury. After she finishes, Andy stops her from leaving, wanting to confess his love but struggling to find the courage. Meanwhile, Zessica has secluded herself, and Mikono finds her, the two deciding to stay together. Back on the ship, Andy keeps stuttering and eventually blurts out that he wants to fill Mix's hole, meaning to say he wanted to fill the hole in her heart but saying the wrong thing. Mix gets angry and punches him before storming off, leaving him behind. Mikono and Zessica are discussing what the boys might want when the weather suddenly changes. Andy, feeling sad about the rejection, starts digging where he is sitting, not realizing how deep he is going. Outside the ship, a dimensional gate opens and an abductor emerges. Cayenne, Malloy, and Amada quickly put on their Aquarian to fight the abductor. Mix and the other girls take refuge in the hole Andy is digging, unaware he has created a very deep one. Soon, he breaks through to a cave containing an unknown object, and everyone is ejected back to the surface, inside the fully assembled vector, ready to work together. The weather grows colder as they charge toward the abductor with their combined power and deliver a powerful Mugen punch, destroying the abductor and securing victory. Back on Altair, Mike Cage realizes some of the components he needs are on the island, but the main solar wing component has not yet been found. Upon returning to the academy, Zessica appears in a new outfit that doesn't expose her belly, surprising her friends. She approaches Mikono and tells her she doesn't mind having a one-sided love for Amada, knowing he doesn't feel the same way, but she's not ready to stop loving him. Kreia learns that Zen has left the academy, going in search of the mythic Aquarian. Meanwhile, Andy is still feeling depressed, digging holes around the academy due to his unstable emotions after his rejection by Mix, who feels guilty but can't tell anyone about it yet. Later, Zessica receives an invitation from a guy asking her out, considering the offer to move on from Amada's rejection. In the yard, Mikono receives a letter from her father, and when Amada runs toward her, she realizes there's nothing she can't discuss with him. Mikono tells Amada the letter is from her father, explaining they were never close because she didn't have elemental powers, unlike Cayenne. That night, Mikono reads the letter and decides to take it to her brother, telling him it's meant for him and apologizing for opening it, but not mentioning she's already read it. As she leaves, Mikono thinks about the letter, which turns out to be their father asking Cayenne if Mikono is a burden at the academy, ready to take her away if Cayenne feels she is. Mix finds Mikono lost in thought and reveals she is the reason Andy is feeling depressed, explaining what happened during their trip and blaming herself for talking about people's feelings without considering the consequences. The two girls agree that only men truly understand themselves better. Sumoi is surprised to see Zessica coming out of one of the vector machines, having just finished training. Afterward, Zessica goes to the bathroom, sits in the tub, and reflects on her decisions. On Altair, the power and production levels have seriously decreased, and Izumo realizes the planet is nearing a crisis, suspecting Maikage is behind everything. To find a solution, Izumo decides to go to Vega himself to try to acquire the rare Aigura, visiting the pod station to check on Alicia, hoping to find her son. Back in Vega, Cayenne calls Mikono to let her know he is aware she has read the letter from their father, reassuring her that he doesn't see her as a burden, and is glad Amada was the first to recognize how much she has changed, eager to share this news with their father. Izumo and 3 other abductors arrive on Vega, and Neo Diava notices this abductor looks very different, its armor majestic and bold. Andy is not allowed to operate the vector in his depressed state, and the rest of the elements are on standby, ready to engage Izumo and his men. As Zesika, Amata, and Malloy merge, Amata starts to sense Zesika's feelings, and she begins to act irrationally and recklessly, charging at Izumo without a plan. Izumo easily deflects her attacks and counters with more dangerous ones, knocking out Malloy, and Cayenne takes his place. Amata continues to attack Izumo, but Izumo dodges his strikes and hacks into Neo Diava's communications, announcing he is Altair's supreme leader, and explaining he needs women to ensure the continuation of life on Altair. Hearing this, Zesika flies toward the gate, ready to offer herself up, but her friends try to stop her, leading to another battle. During the fight, Amata transforms his vector, and Izumo realizes he is Alicia's son. Amata also sees an image of his mother appear, and Izumo concludes Mikage is manipulating the situation. While Mix is trying to reach Zesika, one of the abductors hits her hard, causing her to pass out, and Izumo and the other abductors successfully capture Mix, leaving Andy in pain. Upon returning to the academy, Andy punches Amata, demanding to know why he didn't save Mix, but Cayenne intervenes, reminding Andy that Mix was trying to save Zesika when she got kidnapped. Feeling guilty, Zesika runs away. In the operations room, Kreia and Donar wonder where Zen is, and Kreia reassures them he can see everything and might be looking for a solution, as the dimensional gate is completely shut, making it impossible to access Altair. A week has passed since Mix's abduction, and Andy's condition is worsening, refusing to leave the hole he dug. Yunoha worries about helping him, not wanting him to experience the pain of losing a loved one like she did. Meanwhile, Zesika has locked herself in her room, moping. While alone, Zesika's mirror shatters, and Mikage emerges, understanding her pain and offering to help her. But in return, he leaves a purple mark on her forehead before disappearing. The next day, Mikono tells Amata she is leaving to find Zen, determined to use her power to connect people and save Mix. She mentions there is something she wants to tell Amata when she returns, admitting to Yunoha that she has feelings for him, blaming herself for not revealing them, contributing to the conflict between Amata and Zesika. The dimensional gate opens again, and Andy rushes to the operations room, demanding they send the elements to Altair immediately. The director is hesitant, warning it might be a trap, but Kreia receives a message from Zen, assuring them the gate is not a trap, and he orders the elements to move out. Just then, Schrade knocks out Cayenne and takes over his vector, heading to Altair instead. The elements enter the dimensional gate and arrive on Altair, where an alarm sounds, indicating the gate has been opened. Izumo realizes Mikage must have done this, disappointed as it has dropped their power level to 40%. The military doesn't detect anything coming through the gate, unaware that Amata and his team are entering the city. Yunoha is using her powers to make them invincible, informing them the effect will only last half a day, and they need to rescue Mix before that time runs out. Although already exhausted, Yunoha refuses to stay in the vector and insists on following them to explore Jin's world. The team arrives at an industrial area, and when one of the men mistakes the girls for fakes, Zesika punches him. Realizing they need to blend in, they acquire some local clothes and continue their journey to save Mix. As they move through the planet, they notice there are only men around, understanding why Altair has been kidnapping girls. Yunoha and Zesika also notice their breathing has changed since arriving. Spotting the enemy's headquarters, they assume Mix is being held there and infiltrate the building, but the security system detects them. They capture a masked individual to guide them, but soon find themselves pinned down by gunmen. Schrade tells Amata and Andy to escape, and the masked person suffers a minor gunshot wound, which Andy treats. They reach the elevator, but the masked guy refuses to enter the codes. Andy threatens him, and he destroys the elevator door. The guards pin them down again, but Andy creates an opening for Amata to escape, urging him to save Mix. Amata reaches the top and is shocked to see his mother in one of the pods. Meanwhile, Andy is captured, and as he removes his mask, his hair falls down like a woman's, and he mutters the word, Mix. Just then, the hole Andy created earlier closes up. Amata is emotionally hurt, wondering why his mother is inside the pod and why she left him behind. As he gets closer, he is surrounded by guards, but Izumo enters and tells them to leave, ready to explain everything to Amata, including the curse of Eve placed on Altair. Meanwhile, Yunoha, Zesika, and Schrade have returned to the parked vectors, discussing the differences between their planet and Altair, struggling with their breathing, while Schrade enjoys a stroll, commenting the planet is just like him. Andy is locked in a cell but feels confident he can break out. In Vega, Mikano is still on her quest to find Zen, eventually encountering him in a harbor town. Zen laughs at her, revealing he has been following her, and explains how his body and soul will remain constant for eternity, his words resonating deeply with Mikono, who wants to respond, but Zen stops her. Zen tells Mikono he is ready to share the whole story from 24,000 years ago. Meanwhile, on Altair, Izumo explains the curse to Amata, revealing the women died out 14 years ago, and they've been coming to Vega to hunt for women. Amata becomes angry, feeling Altair is selfish, and tries to attack Izumo, but Izumo easily dodges and assures him he will share everything. In Andy's cell, he breaks free and encounters a guard, winning the fight but then running from multiple guards, searching for Mix after overhearing their radio about Amada being with Izumo. Izumo informs Amada that all the women brought from Vega were affected by the curse, and they've been searching for a rare woman who can come to Altair without being affected, finding Alicia, who wasn't the true Eve. Amada demands to know what happened to the women brought to Altair from Vega. Meanwhile, Zen continues his story with Mikono, but everything he says is in riddles, leaving her confused, though she states they will find the mythic Aquarian at the end of their journey. Suddenly, the security system picks up a signal, and Aquarian reveals itself, having been in hiding due to Yunoha's power. The team wants to leave quickly as Zessica and Yunoha are getting worse, and they manage to reach Andy, who informs them of Amada's location. Izumo is still explaining things to Amada when Aquarian bursts into the room, and just as Izumo is about to tell Amada who his father is, the guards arrive, forcing Izumo to flee and reunite with his team, needing to leave before the girls' conditions worsen. Amada realizes the machine's thrusters and the holes above them closing up are Mix's doing, and he shares with the team what Izumo revealed, that all the girls brought to Altair have changed into men, which is Altair's karma. Andy figures out the person in the helmet is Mix, transformed into a man, with her memories tampered by Altair's military. Andy's powers spiral out of control, but Schrade contains it and uses it as an arrowhead, shooting through the wall to create an opening to the dimensional gate for their escape. As they leave, Mix looks at them and says her name is Mixie, while My Cage calmly monitors the situation, waiting for the right moment to act. The team returns to Vega and shares what they learned in Altair. Amada explains the Mix they encountered is not the same Mix they know. Yunoha and Zessica's medical tests come back clear, but Andy is determined to return to Altair to save Mix, though his unstable powers cause him to create holes unintentionally. Schrade has received medical care and plans to create the perfect tune before he dies, wanting Cayenne to be with him when he plays it. Zessica is visited by Maikaj, who reminds her of a promise she made, which she doesn't recall, but he assures her she will remember when the time comes. Andy explains he can sit comfortably above the holes Mix filled, as he doesn't have to worry about his powers going out of control there. That night, Amada experiences a nightmare where he fuses with Kagura while trying to hurt Mikono. Meanwhile, Mikono and Zen continue their journey, and Zen decides to tell Mikono a story she has never heard before. Zen reveals a story from 24,000 years ago about an angel named Apollonius who fell in love with a human girl named Selene during a battle between angels and humans, betraying his kind to fight alongside the humans, abandoning his wings to operate a mechanical angel. Zen warns Mikono the same cycle is about to repeat itself. Amada heads to the docking station, grabs a vector, and flies off in search of Mikono, believing she needs his help, despite Krea's orders. Cayenne and Zessica are sent after him, using Cayenne's prediction power to catch up, as Amada's vector location is turned off. Amada arrives in the town where he first met Mikono, finding it in ruins, and makes his way to the theater where he used to work and live, discovering many pictures on the wall featuring Alicia, realizing he did not put them there and wondering who might have. Meanwhile, Zen and Mikono reach a cave, and Zessica and Cayenne arrive at the town, spotting Amada's vector but finding no sign of him, left to continue searching. Kagura, also in the town, steps on a picture of Alicia holding Amada, triggering his long-lost memories. Meanwhile, Zessica searches for Amada and finds him in the theater, explaining the town has been evacuated. As they talk, an abductor arrives, seemingly under My Cage's command, chasing them. Amada nearly gets caught, but Zessica saves him, only to get trapped under the rubble herself. She confesses her love for Amada and kisses him, activating his floating ability as she urges him to escape. The abductor attacks her, and a large piece of rubble falls on her. Cayenne arrives to intercept the attack, giving Amada a chance to run to safety. Schrade and Bianca join Cayenne, and Schrade tells Cayenne he's ready to play his final tune. The vectors merge to form Aquarian and engage in battle against the abductor. Amada runs into Kagura, who throws the picture at him. Mikono and Zen observe the scene, and Zen announces the solar wing is about to be awakened. Kagura confronts Amada and reveals that Amada is his other half. The battle between Aquarian and the abductor continues, with Krea and Donar concerned about Schrade, who has not put on an elemental suit, as it's taking a heavy toll on him, but he just wants to feel the melody of the world. Kagura tells Amada they were originally the same person, but split when their mother left for Altair, with Kagura as the dark version ready to follow her, while Amada is the fearful one. Kagura shares he followed their mother into the gate, lost her, and ended up on Altair, where Maikaj took him in, erased his memories, and gave him the new name Kagura. He no longer cares about their mother or father. Amada declares he won't let Kagura harm Mikono, but Kagura effortlessly knocks him against the wall. Watching from the cave, Mikono screams, and the solar wings awaken, throwing her out just before the cave collapses, as a rusty old machine emerges, resonating with Aquarian. Mikono lands on the roof, and both Amada and Kagura see her, with Kagura revealing his intention to kill her, reigniting the fight. Meanwhile, those in the operations room realize the old machine is the mythic Aquarian, long thought to be lost, as Zen reappears, shocking everyone. Kagura continues to beat up Amada, and when Mikono shouts at him to stop, it only brings Kagura more joy. Zesika wakes up in a strange dimension, where Maikage appears and snaps her back to life, and she sees Amada and Kagura fighting over Mikono. Kagura claims fate has destined him and Mikono to be together, but Amada counters that he genuinely cares for Mikono, not just because she's the reincarnation of Sylphie from 12,000 years ago. Amada's wings activate, allowing him to fly out as Kagura pushes him toward an opening. The battle between Aquarian Spada and the abductor continues, with Schrade feeling weak and coughing up red liquid, prompting Kreia to order an element change, with Yunoha quickly replacing him. Amada flies toward Mikono, but Kagura holds him back with his power. In the operations room, Kreia confronts Zen, who responds with one of his riddles. As the battle rages on, the mythic Aquarian sheds its rustiness to reveal shining armor, but the abductor knocks Aquarian Spada to the ground and grabs the mythic Aquarian, flying into the dimensional gate. Kagura grabs Mikono and enters his armor, flying into the dimensional gate with her. Schrade pleads with Kreia for one more chance to use his strength, and she gives him permission, as Amada and Zesika follow Kagura into the gate, merging their vector machines to become Aquarian Spada. During the battle in the dimensional gate, Schrade boosts Aquarian's power, allowing it to cut the abductor in two, but the explosion causes Aquarian to split back into the individual vector machines, leaving Schrade completely weak from using so much of his power. On Altair, Izumo orders the military to stay on standby, as they cannot allow Kagura to keep Mikono. Back on Vega, Zen informs everyone that the awakening of the mythic Aquarian has disrupted the balance between Altair and Vega, and the world is heading toward impending doom, but he reassures Kreia that the mythic Aquarian will not activate unless there is a chosen element. Realizing they won't make it through the gate unless they merge, even though Schrade is in no condition, he knows he must for the sake of his friends. They merge and become Aquarian, giving them a chance to make it through the dimensional gate. Back in Vega, Kreia has gathered everyone, and Zen informs them he is about to tell the myth that has been passed down for 24,000 years, revealing he has always had the Book of the Twin Stars with him. The team finds themselves inside a giant book, ready for Kreia to narrate the story. The first chapter takes place 24,000 years ago, when the angel Apollonius fell in love with the human Selene, using the mythic Aquarian to protect mankind and drive away the angels. Toma, Apollonius's fiancée, harbored feelings of both hatred and love for him because of his betrayal. Pollen, a winged dog, also fell in love with Selene, wishing to be reincarnated as a human. The second chapter begins 12,000 years ago, when people fought against the angels using the mechanical angel and the knowledge that had been passed down to them. The person who operated the mechanical angel 12,000 years ago was a young man named Apollo, the reincarnation of the winged dog Pollen, whose lover Selene has been reincarnated as Sylvia. However, Toma, Apollonius's fiancée, has also been reincarnated and aims to destroy everything Apollonius built, leading to the destruction of the Shadow Angels. To save the world, Apollo had to say goodbye to Sylvia, marking the beginning of a new world. Now, it's time for the third chapter, focusing on the present day. When the Tree of Life died, it disrupted the balance, causing the Earth to split into Vega and Altair. In this era, Pollen has been reincarnated as Alicia's child, but Toma, who retains all his memories, has reincarnated before him and used his power to split the reincarnation of Pollen, Amada, into two, to use them for his revenge. Toma is now known as Maikage, and Sylvia has been reincarnated as Mikono. This is where the story ends for now, and it's up to the team to write the remaining chapters. Mikono wakes up in Kagura's arms and apologizes for not realizing his feelings. At that moment, Schrade finds the right tune for his music, creating a perfect melody that helps his friends escape the dimensional gate. As he plays, he recalls his entire life, and Aquarian splits apart, with Schrade dying in the dimensional gate. Cayenne feels Schrade's death and cries for his lost friend and rival, as the myth for the future is now written in blood. Zesika arrives in Altair and encounters Maikage, who takes control of her body and traps her in the Soul Realm. Izumo and the abductors find Kagura with Mikono and demand he hand her over, but Kagura refuses. Just as Izumo is about to eliminate Kagura, Zesika, unbeknownst to them actually Maikage, arrives and tells Kagura he is the chosen one and should summon the mythic Aquarian. Kagura follows her advice, and the mythic Aquarian appears. Maikage, Mikono, and Kagura enter the Aquarian and confront Izumo and his men, with Maikage pleased that everything is going according to his plan. Back on Vega, the team is concerned about the world becoming imbalanced and haven't heard from Amada or the others. Andy declares he will find a way to reach Altair, and the director grants him permission. In Altair, the mythic Aquarian destroys all the abductors, leaving only Izumo, who believes his Genis can match the Aquarian's power. Kagura uses his reversal power to block Izumo's attack, resulting in a standoff. Suddenly, Mix arrives to support Izumo, surprising Mikono. Driven by his determination to save his lover, Andy successfully creates the dimensional gate. In Altair, Mix resists Kagura's call, but Mikono insists Mix is her friend. Izumo delivers a fatal blow to the mythic Aquarian, and Amada wakes up to a voice calling him. Cayenne confirms with fake Zessica that Schrade is truly dead, and Andy attempts to reach out to Mix, but she refuses to listen. A fight breaks out between the two, with the mythic Aquarian continuing to attack Izumo. Izumo asks Kagura if he doesn't want to save Altair, but Kagura only cares about his woman, Mikono, and doesn't care if the world ends. Amada reaches the pod station and finds his mother, Alicia, is the one calling out to him. Alicia reveals that Amada's father is Izumo, shocking Amada. She narrates how she met Izumo, who came to Vega when their women died out and they got close. Alicia later gave birth to Amada, but she didn't want to take him with her when she volunteered to go to Altair because she didn't want to put him in danger. Upon hearing this, Amada reveals he has forgiven Alicia, understanding why she left him. Izumo is still battling Kagura, telling him he cannot lose because he is not ready to let Alicia's sacrifice go to waste. Izumo takes all the energy from the city into his machine, making him extremely powerful and dangerous. He fires a warning shot that the mythic Aquarian finds hard to dodge and tells Kagura to give up or he will finish him off. Seeing this, Mikage takes control of the mythic Aquarian and shoots towards the cryo station where Alicia is, distracting Izumo, who flies in that direction. The explosion eliminates Alicia, but Amada manages to make it out. Amada is now vengeful because of his mother's death. Maikage tells Kagura to end Izumo when he has the chance, and Kagura penetrates Izumo's armor with the Mugen Punch, which seems to be the end of Izumo. However, Izumo shocks them when he makes a U-turn, and fires off a powerful blast that splits the mythic Aquarian into vector machines. Amada runs toward his father's crash site and helps Izumo up, telling him he now knows everything. Izumo apologizes for taking Alicia away from Amada. Izumo realizes the construction of the Iron Sea City was the cause of the women's deaths, as the city has been drawing the mother's energy from the planet. Izumo passes on with this in mind, but Alicia's spirit appears to him and takes him away, assuring Amada that his effort will not be in vain, as Amada will reunite the two worlds. Amada is now only thinking about revenge, blaming Kagura for taking away the two people he has always longed for, and he is determined to never forgive Kagura. Kagura wakes up and immediately starts looking for Mikono, but Amada's vector is coming toward him with a vengeful heart, blaming Kagura for killing their father, Izumo. Amada transforms into an incomplete mechanical angel and knocks Kagura down. Kagura realizes he should be able to transform just like Amada, and he does, and the battle continues. With the two soul fragments against each other, Altair leaves its orbit and starts moving toward Vega. Meanwhile, Andy is still battling with Mix, trying to get her to come back to her senses. He pins Mix to a rock and comes out of the machine, talking about filling up the big hole in her heart, which triggers Mix's memories, and she comes back to her senses, remembering who Andy is. Andy and Mix are finally ready to merge, but Kreia substitutes them with Yunoha. The fight between Kagura and Amada continues, with Amada condemning Kagura for having everything he ever wanted on Altair and still going ahead to ruin it. Kagura then reveals he had no idea that their parents were on Altair and was raised by Maikage, who treated him like a slave, and Kagura never felt comfortable with Maikage. Kagura punches Amada into the river, but Amada comes back out because of his will to punish Kagura. With Altair getting closer to Vega, Kreia leaves to find Zen, who knows Maikage wants to merge the two worlds to become the ruler, but Zen disappears instead of answering. The battle between Kagura and Amada continues, and Mikono wakes up in a vector machine, hurt by their fighting. Maikage intercepts her and tells her she will be merging with him, not the two. Maikage narrates how he was betrayed by his love, Apollonius, when Apollo brought the offer for them to merge and save the world. Maikage forcefully merges with Mikono, causing her to scream out in pain. Amada and Kagura hear her scream, and Malloy, Cayenne, and Yunoha arrive, telling Amada to take his place and merge with the team. Amada accepts, and they merge into Aquarian evil, but Maikage easily repels their attacks and mocks Amada. Maikage forces Kagura to bend to his will and takes over his vector too. With this, Maikage has 3 parts and transforms into a dark Aquarian, standing tall in the sky, setting the stage for the final battle between Maikage and the team. Dark Aquarian versus Aquarian evil. Amada throws the Mugen Punch at Maikage, but Maikage easily catches notices it and replies with 4 attack punches that leave Amada and his team shaking. Kagura wakes up in the labyrinth of My-Cage's mind and sees Zessica, who asks Kagura to terminate her so My-Cage will no longer be able to operate, as her love for Amada is strong, but she doesn't want Amada to lose Mykono. My-Cage currently has Amada and his team in a chokehold. Kagura holds Zessica's neck, but changes his mind and doesn't want her to die for Amada. My-Cage gets angry and says he doesn't need Zessica or Kagura again, as he already has Mikono, who is the absolute power, and he merges with only her, awakening a dark sun that covers Vega, making everything start to get hot. Cayenne and Yunoha are forcibly ejected, and Amada has no way of fighting My-Cage with just one vector machine. Just then, Mix and Andy show up to support him, and Shrade's soul provides melody for the team. Zessica, Malloy, and Director Kreia also join the fight, and Cayenne and Yunoha return to their machines. They now have more than enough hands to fight My-Cage, and Shrade continues to help the team with the melody of his soul. They all merge together to form their respective Aquarian. Even with all hands on deck, My-Cage appears to be tougher than expected, easily taking in the damage from their attacks. Amada is not ready to give up and continues to charge at My-Cage, who is forced to extend his arms and draw the 2 planets to each other, starting to suck the life out of them. In My-Cage's mind, Mikono sees an image of My-Cage in pain, feeling betrayed because Mikono took away the person he loves. Zen appears to her and tells her to continue watching, as there are things she needs to see before disappearing again. My-Cage punches Amada's Aquarian and forces it to split up, but Zessica and Kagura jump in to assist. Amada is surprised and thanks them, and they merge together to become Aquarian evil once again. In My-Cage's mind, Mikono realizes she has been the cause of the breakage between My-Cage and Apollonius, and she faces My-Cage, apologizing and telling him he can do whatever he wants to her, but he should spare those in the world. Amada comes rushing, but My-Cage shoots them away with an energy blast. Amada finds himself flying in a soul state, and Jin's voice resonates with Yunoha, reminding her they are always together, and she powers up the machine and shoots a powerful blast at My-Cage. Amada continues drifting in the soul state, but the voices of his friends and parents call out to him, and he snaps out of it, activating his wings and easily moving around My-Cage with Kagura's support. Amada is able to escape the obstacles and grab Mikono away from My-Cage, and the Aquarian's name changes from evil to love. Amada and Mikono show their powerful love to everyone by kissing, and their tears soak the planet, reversing the effect of the dark sun. Their love also connects the 2 planets together, and My-Cage's soul is evicted, caught in Zen's hands, who turns out to be the Apollonius of this era, placing My-Cage in his heart so he can continue to sleep there. After the dust has settled, Amada emerges from the water carrying Mikono, and everyone, including Kagura, rushes over to meet them. Zen appears and tells everyone that the ban on romance is now officially lifted, and Amada and Mikono's love rewrites the myth from 24,000 years ago and sets everything straight.